Most salespeople think voicemails are a waste of time, and I understand why. You leave one, nothing happens. You leave another, still nothing. So you stop. But here's what nobody is telling you. The sellers who figure out why voicemails aren't working and fix it are quietly booking more meetings than everyone else, and it comes down to 4 things. In this video, I'm going to show you exactly what those 4 things are and give you the framework I teach sales teams that outbound so you can start applying this today. I'm Leslie Venetz, a USA Today top 50 bestselling author of Profit Generating Pipeline, a 3-time founder, and a top 1% B2B sales expert. I've personally made over 250,000 cold calls and generated over 100 million in pipeline. So when I tell you I have opinions about voicemails, I mean it. Later in this video, I'm going to show you a mistake sales teams make on almost every voicemail they leave. It has nothing to do with what they're saying. Most sales leaders never catch it. Let's start with the most important mindset shift in this video, because I think most sellers have the wrong goal entirely when they leave a voicemail. If you think the only reason to leave a voicemail is to get a callback, you're missing the point. And if you're pitching your product on a voicemail, you are actively turning off the very prospects that you want to attract. So here's the reframe. A voicemail is not a standalone sales pitch, it's a bridge. Its job is to create enough relevance and curiosity that your prospect engages with the next point in your sequence, whether it's an email or a LinkedIn request or a call. Voicemails work best not as a one-touch knockout, but as part of a coordinated, value-driven sequence. Stop trying to close in a voicemail. Start trying to use it to open a door. So how do you leave a voicemail that actually does that? There are 4 rules I teach every sales team that outbounds. Master these and voicemails stop feeling like a wasted effort and start becoming one of your most underrated prospecting tools. Let's get into it. Rule number 1, and this is one that surprises every team that I work with, it's to be fully present on the call and actually listen to what your prospect's voicemail is telling you. Too often, sellers are just waiting for the beep so that they can start talking. But when you call someone and they don't pick up, you're still gathering intelligence. Their outgoing message might give you an alternative number or a verified email. It might tell you they're out of office, which means you can pause your sequences and time your next touch perfectly. It might mention an event they're attending. It's a personalization goldmine for your next email. And there's a bonus. That out-of-office message might contain the name of a colleague that's covering for them. So that's a thread to pull for the multi-threading of the account, a second contact that you didn't even know existed 30 seconds ago. So every unanswered call is an intelligence gathering opportunity, whether they pick up or not. The voicemail strategy starts before you ever speak. Okay, that's rule 1. Now we're getting into the 2 rules that will change how your entire team thinks about phone outreach, starting with the one that almost nobody teaches. This is rule 2. Rule 2 is voicemail gives you something email and LinkedIn simply cannot, and that is the ability to convey real human emotion through your voice. Think about it. When you send an email, the prospect reads it in whatever emotional state they're already in. Your enthusiasm, your urgency, your genuine belief that you can help them, none of that comes through. It's flat text on a screen. But when you leave a voicemail and your tone communicates that you are genuinely excited about what you're sharing, or there's a real reason that they should pay attention right now, that lands differently. The human voice creates a connection that written words can't replicate. And this is why time blocking your calls matters more than most people realize. When you batch your calls to a specific segment of your territory, people you're reaching with the same opener, the same core message, the same sequence, something shifts. You get into a bit of a flow state, your energy builds with each call instead of having to reset. The result is that your delivery gets sharper, more confident, more natural, and your 20th call sounds even better than your first. Block time isn't just a productivity strategy, it's how you show up with the kind of energy your voice needs to actually move somebody. Your voice can do what your emails never will, so use it. Rule 3 is the one most sales teams have never considered because most of them don't realize it's already happening to every voicemail they leave. Here's something that should change how you write every voicemail script from this point forward, and yes, you should be writing voicemail scripts. A significant portion of your prospects, they're never gonna listen to your voicemail, they're going to read it. Visual voicemail transcription is the standard now. Your prospect gets a notification, glances at the transcript on their phone while they're walking into their next meeting and decides in 3 seconds whether it's worth their time. That means that your voicemail has to work in 2 formats simultaneously. It needs to sound natural spoken out loud, and it needs to read clearly as text to someone that's skimming. So here's the rule I'd like you to follow. Script your voicemails. This is not the time to wing it. Keep it under 30 seconds, shorter if you can, but even 30 seconds is about 5 sentences max. Your first sentence needs to deliver something immediately relevant, not just calling, introduce myself, not hope you're having a great week. Get to value in your first breath. The scripts that you write need to get to value in the first breath. So when I work with sales leaders to build voicemail scripts for their teams, the goal is always the same. Clear language, no jargon, one specific relevant point. If a prospect reads it on the screen in 3 seconds, they should know exactly why you called and exactly what you want them to do next. So while most sales teams are crafting voicemails for listeners, if they craft them at all, your prospects are readers, and now you know to write for both. So write it like a cold email, leave it like a human. Rule 4, and this is the mistake I promised you earlier that most sales teams make on every single voicemail. They're asking for a callback as their default call to action. Think about what you're actually asking. You're asking someone who didn't pick up the phone to proactively find your number and dial you back. You, a stranger. That's a high bar. And in most outbound sequences, it is too high. Here is what works instead. Use your voicemail to drive engagement on a channel where the friction is lower. So use the voicemail to ask them to accept your LinkedIn connection request, or tell them to look for a specific subject line in your inbox and then give them the subject line right in the voicemail. So that might sound something like, using your voicemail to point to an email means your voicemail and your email are now working together. The prospect hears your voice, then sees your email, and it feels like a coordinated, intentional outreach instead of just a blast from some stranger. That specificity is what earns the right to their attention, and earning the right is always the goal with your cold outreach. One exception worth noting: if you are calling someone who primarily works by phone, like a dentist, a realtor, someone without a corporate inbox, a callback request might make sense. If you've spent any time with me, you know I root all of my suggestions in best practice in data, but you need to know your audience, test, and adjust. For most outbound sequences, cross-channel calls to action will outperform a callback ask every single time. Don't ask them to come to you, meet them where they're already at. Here's what I want you to think about when you hang up your next unanswered call. You just had an amazing opportunity. Most of your competitors heard the beep and either winged it or hung up. You now know how to turn that moment into intelligence gathering, into human connection, into a coordinated next step that moves the conversation forward. And that is the difference between a voicemail strategy and just having some voicemails in your sequence. One drives pipeline, the other just kind of drives silence. So these 4 rules aren't complicated. Listen before you speak, use your voice with intention, rate for the reader, not just the listener, and drive your prospect's attention to somewhere they'll actually go. Voicemails don't fail. Voicemail strategies do. If this video changed how you think about voicemails, hit subscribe. I publish new content every week to help sales teams that outbound earn trust and drive revenue. And if you want to explore working together, whether that's bringing me on as a strategic advisor, a consultant, or a trainer for your team, head to salesledgtm.com. Everything you need is right there to get started. If this landed for you, check out my video on writing cold emails that actually get responses. It's the perfect companion to this voicemail script, and it's linked right here. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more, and I'll see you next time.